Hello, everyone. Welcome to your new favorite cricket fan channel called Willow and Leather. This is me, Shravan, joining you today. We're continuing our series of preview for IPL 2024, where we're going through every team one by one and doing a quick analysis on them with my predicted forecast of what their starting lineup could look like and what my predictions are for their standings in the table. So, the team that we have today is Lucknow Super Giants, LSG. So, let's get on with it. So, as a quick recap, LSG, new kids on the block, started playing in the IPL just a couple of years ago, but they have done fantastically well in their opening two seasons, finishing within the top four in both seasons, so qualifying for the playoffs. But unfortunately, being knocked out in the eliminator both years back to back, so that was a tough pill for them to swallow, I'm sure. But they have done very well to be able to make it this far in the last two seasons. Let's quickly look at the key changes for the team. Not a whole lot of action when it comes to transfers in or out of the team. They had a relatively quiet auction as well. But even before the auction, they did complete one key transfer in the transfer window. That was bringing in Devdutt Padikkal from Rajasthan Royals and giving up Avesh Khan. So that was an interesting trade that they did before the auction window. And then as a part of the auction itself, not a whole lot of business, to be honest, just because they had a fairly sorted team already. They brought in a few overseas players, like Ashton Turner, David Willey, for example, and more recently now with the unavailability of Mark Wood to be playing in the IPL. They've brought in Shamar Joseph, the breakthrough West Indian pacer, instead of Mark Wood now. So that is a key gap that they're hoping to fill as well. But besides that, not a whole lot of other changes. So that kind of tells me that it's a relatively stable squad at this point, and I think they were very happy with what the team was able to achieve in the last 2 years, which is why they haven't really gone about making too many changes. But one key change happening in the backroom staff, obviously. So folks like Andy Flower and Gautam Gambhir are no longer with the club. Andy Flower moving to RCB and Gautam Gambhir finding his way back home to Kolkata Knight Riders. But in their place, they've brought in Justin Langer as the head coach. So that is probably the biggest change for them this season. So we'll see how that works out. But Langer again is a proven coach, has done very well with the Australian national team for several years, and has had a couple of other stints in between as well. So it'll be interesting to see how Langer does, but other than that, fairly unchanged. So quick look at what I think are their strengths and weaknesses. So strengths to begin with, like I said, firstly, the fact that they have a largely unchanged squad. I think that tells me that the balance in the team is fairly strong. And the fact that they brought in someone like a Devdutt Padikkal, I think that helps address probably one key position in their top six, which was kind of up in the air last year around. And they did try a couple of other players in that position, but didn't really work out for them. So that addition of Devdutt Padikkal, I think, adds a little bit of stability to their batting order, and I think it clarifies the roles for a couple of other players in the squad as well. So that, I think, is their biggest strength. When it comes to weaknesses, I think the loss of the successful backroom staff, like I mentioned, I think that's probably going to be something that might impact them significantly. Andy Flower is a proven coach. He's done great wonders across different leagues and different teams all over the world. So, the loss of him, I think, will be a pretty big deal for them. And similarly, Gautam Gambhir as well. I think he was pretty solid and very aggressive as a mentor. We've all seen incidents of his aggression on and off the field. So I think missing out on a couple of real leaders in the backroom staff, I think, will be a big loss for them. But I think Justin Langer, time will tell how he does. But I think he's probably a suitable replacement from what I can see. But the other key weakness that I see, and not necessarily a weakness as such, but basically a lack of proven match-winning Indian pace bowlers. I think that's a category or a group that they're probably missing out a little bit on. They do have a couple of decent Indian pace options, but then again, they're not, proven, or they aren't bowlers that you would imagine could lead the bowling attack or lead the pack basically. So I think that's an area where they, I feel, missed out by not going after a couple of options in the auction. So that's my analysis of their team. So let's quickly do a walkthrough of what my ideal starting 12 for this team would be. Again, starting 12 because I'm including the impact player in this list as well. So we'll start right at the top. No real changes there. KL Rahul, captain and star opener, star batter for them. I don't see anything changing on that front. Had to miss out on a lot of games last year due to an injury, but he's made his way back from that injury. He's recovered and he did very well for India in the ODI World Cup as well. But after that, he's kind of been away from action, from the international scene. Not a part of the Indian T20 squad at the moment, so that will be something that he will want to correct as quickly as possible. With the World Cup coming up now in June, July in the Caribbean and in the US, I think a lot of positions in the Indian team are up for grabs, and KL Rahul will still fancy himself to try and break into that team. So I think it's going to be a very important season for him as well, specifically for his T20 international career. So I do expect him to continue making big impact like he has done in the last 2 or 3 years that he's been playing. Right now a couple of years with Lucknow Super Giants, but even previously with Punjab Kings as well. I think he was phenomenal. He's been one of the most consistent batsmen over the last 4 or 5 year window when you look at it across the IPL. So I'm hoping he has a good IPL again this year. To partner with him, Quinton de Kock. Again, no surprises there. I know they fooled around a lot with the opening slot last time around, bringing in Kyle Myers instead of de Kock for a few games. But to me, Quinton de Kock is a world beater, is a world champion. I think just one of those class players who adds a lot of quality to the batting. So as long as Quinton de Kock is available, I would probably always pick de Kock over Myers, but that's just my personal opinion. But I think Quinton de Kock just adds a touch of class to this batting lineup, which is already pretty strong. Okay, and at number 3, this is the gap that I think they were looking to address. I think they've tried out a couple of players last season, but this time around, I think with the inclusion of Devdutt Padikkal, I think they will want to give him that slot so that he can kind of make it his own. It'll be a very interesting season for Devdutt Padikkal as well. I think at Rajasthan Royals, he was kind of forced to play a little lower down the order at number 4 most of the times, because the top 3 there were fairly settled with Butler, Jaiswal and Sanju Samson. But here with Lucknow Super Giants, I feel like he will get that opportunity to bat at number 3 and bat there regularly. And hopefully he can make that position his own. And it's going to be an important season for him as well to perform in this new team. At number 4, star man from the Caribbean, Nicholas Pooran, Nicky P. Has had an absolutely magical season ever since last year's IPL, playing and performing at very, very high levels in terms of his impact on games. Even in last year's IPL, he kind of single-handedly won Lucknow Super Giants a couple of games out of nowhere. And even post the IPL, he's been having a wonderful season across different competitions. Last summer, he was here as a part of the Major League Cricket program as well with the MI New York team, and he led the team, or rather, he was part of the team that went on to win the title with a magnificent performance, century in the finals. So that was an absolutely game-changing innings for him as well, and would have brought him a lot of confidence. And he's been performing very well across other leagues as well. So I think if he can continue his rich vein of form, this team kind of completely transforms into a different animal altogether. And so I think a lot of LSG's success will depend on Nicholas Pooran's form. Right, at number 5, Marcus Stoinis. Again, don't really expect any changes here. He's been someone who's been consistently batting in that position, trying to be that finisher as and when needed, but also able to accelerate in the middle overs. He can take down top class spinners as needed as well. And his hitting just seems very effortless. When you see him hit the ball, it just feels like he's probably just trying to time it or place it, but the amount of power he gets behind some of those shots is just ridiculous. And he is extremely important as a bowling option for this team as well. He can come in and give you 2 overs, 3 overs, and on a good day, he can give you his full quota of 4 overs as well. And he has that knack of picking up wickets in between. So I think he's going to be a crucial cog in this LSG wheel too. So that's the top 5. Again, I think with the addition of Devdutt Padikkal, it brings in a lot of stability to the top order. And he can kind of be that stroke maker and that anchor kind of a player, while everyone else around him is able to just go hell for leather. I think that kind of frees up KL Rahul to be a little bit more aggressive as well. There have been a lot of questions around his strike rate and his approach in the initial part of the innings, trying to kind of take his bat through the entire innings for a lot of matches. So I think someone like Devdutt Padikkal will probably give KL Rahul the flexibility to go a little bit more aggressive at the top as well, so that Padikkal can kind of hang back and bat with the rest of the crew to kind of hold the innings together. At number 6, I have Deepak Hooda. So this is one of the players that they experimented at number 3 last year. Didn't really come off for the team. And I think he is better suited as a finisher in that team. So coming in at number 6, I think that's a great position for him. And he's pretty good against spin bowling attacks as well, but also can score some big hits against the pacers in the death overs too. So I think number 6 is a more suited role for Deepak Hooda. So I'd like to see him kind of continuing in that role, not really experimenting too much at the top of the order, but really be that Indian finisher who can come in and change the games for his team. And also gives a spin option again, a right arm off spin for the team. So, and we've seen the Lucknow pitch last year can be a little slow and low. So I'm sure folks like him will have a big hand to play in this coming season for LSG as well. At number 7, I have Krunal Pandya. Again, one of those handy all-rounders in the team. Can come in late in the innings and tonk a few. And he's actually played further up the order in a few games last season as well. But again, with someone like a Devdutt Padikkal coming in now, I think the top 5 seems a little bit more settled, where you have real quality batsmen at the top and not having to use all-rounders in the early part of the innings. But then you can reserve folks like Hooda and Krunal Pandya towards the end to make a bigger impact. Again, Pandya is someone who can give the ball a twirl as well. So he's been fairly consistently bowling 3 or 4 overs in almost every single game last season. So I think he'll have a big part to play again this year too. Right, at number 8, I have slotted in Ayush Badoni. Again, someone who burst onto the scene a couple of years ago during LSG's first year and was able to come in towards the end with even 2 or 3 overs left, and he would just change the game. Right, very intriguing shots that he would just manufacture and get some very, very vital runs for the team. And I think that role kind of suits him a little bit more as well, at least at this point in his career, until he gets more opportunities to grow his batting skills domestically and really perform and score tons of runs at further up the order. I think a number 7 or a number 8 position kind of seems suitable for him at this point. Again, I say that only because they have filled in that gap at number 3 with Devdutt Padikkal. So I think that player coming in kind of makes it a lot easier for people to be given very clear roles in the team. So I think for Hooda, Pandya and for Badoni, I think that 6, 7 and 8 can play very freely, be those destructive batsmen at the end and take the team over the line if they're chasing, or basically help accelerate towards the end to help set up big targets for the team. Right, at number 9, this is where I would like to bring in one of our overseas pacers. So It's a toss-up right now between Naveen ul Haq and Shamar Joseph. Naveen ul Haq, obviously, I feel like he's a little bit more, street smart, and he's a wily bowler who can especially utilize some of the slower pitches better. So at a ground like Lucknow, where the pitch kind of holds up a little bit, I think someone like a Naveen ul Haq might be a better option. But having said that, I think Shamar Joseph might get a good run here, especially because they are, missing out on a player like Mark Wood this time. So they will need that element of sheer pace in the team, and I think Shamar Joseph offers that option to them. So I feel like Shamar Joseph might be their first pick. And again, they might change things a little bit just based on the surfaces that they're playing in. But at least for the initial part of the season, where the pitches are a little bit fresher and there is a little bit more pace and bounce, I feel like Shamar Joseph might be the better option for them. Okay, and at number 10, I have Ravi Bishnoi. Needless to say, one of the emerging stars of the Indian team at this point when it comes to T20 cricket. Leg spinner who gives it a lot of, pace and fizz, and I think he's more than a handful for a lot of batsmen even now. So I think he's just kept improving as a leg spinner and offers a lot with the ball. And he's able to bowl even during the power play or in the middle overs as well. So I think he adds a lot of strength to that spin department, which already has a few part-timers like I previously mentioned. But this out-and-out leg spinner, I think, he's worth his weight in gold. So he slots in easily at number 10 for the team. At number 11, I've put in Shivam Mavi. He's one of the guys that they picked up in the auction. Again, not someone who's set the IPL on fire, but when he came in after his successful performances in the under-19 team for India, he came in with a lot of promise. For the first couple of seasons, he had like a decently good time with KKR and put in some key performances, but after then has kind of drifted away and not really stepped up his game and improved a whole lot overall. But it's a new season, it's a new team, so we'll see how he flourishes under this new team here. So it'll be interesting to see his performances, and for his own career, I think this could very well be a make or break season for him, especially with the mega auction coming up next year. I think he will want to put in some key good performances so that there are teams who are waiting to pick him up in the mega auction next year. So that's Shivam Mavi at 11. And at number 12, I have Mohsin Khan. Fantastic bowler, showed a lot of heart in the last couple of years. Bowling, during the tough periods of the game. More of a hit the deck kind of a bowler, generates a lot of pace and bounce. And I think he's just proven himself, time and time again over the last couple of seasons to, deserve to be a starting player for the team regularly. And I think he can just grow from strength to strength and go from there. So that's my pick for the starting 12. Predictions, on paper they definitely look like a stronger team from last year. If they finished in the top 4 the last 2 seasons, I don't see any reason why they would not finish in the top 4 again, given that they have improved a little bit on their squad as well. But again, not a whole lot has changed. But like I said, I think the change in the coaching staff is going to be the biggest impact for them. So it'll be very, very interesting to see how much of an impact players or coaches like Andy Flower and Gautam Gambhir had on this team versus what an impact Justin Langer might have on this team. So that will be something to keep an eye on, whether the team kind of gets accustomed to Langer's style of coaching and his approach to games. That is something we'll need to see. But all in all, it's a very strong starting 12. I think they have most of the bases covered, a lot of boxes checked. But like I said, I think their main problem will be in the bowling department, especially up front in the power play and more so towards the death, just because they don't have an outright, Indian pacer who can lead the attack. Nor do they have a lot of depth in their pace bowling department either. So they'll need to rely heavily on their batting to do a bulk of the scoring and hope that they've scored enough that they can defend it. So I think that's going to be the approach for them. But again, no reason why they should not finish in the top 4 this time around. So we'll see how good a season they have. But like I said, I think it's an important season for a lot of players on this team. But if a couple of the players on this team like Nicholas Puran, KL Rahul, and Ravi Bishnoi, I think those will be my 3 players to watch out for. If these 3 guys have a good season, then watch out other teams. Lucknow is coming for you. All right, that was my preview of LSG. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please do like, share, and subscribe to the channel. That's the only way that this channel can grow. Please share this channel with your friends, anyone who's interested in cricket or an IPL at this point of time. Please do share it with them. And I will continue the series previewing the rest of the teams before the IPL begins as well, which is right around the corner. So we'll get through a bunch of these teams in the next couple of days. Thank you once again for joining in. This is Willow and Leather. I'll catch you next time. Cheers.